Hello everyone, my name is Ariel Morgan, Ariel the Model Mom, and I have a series I want to call Faithfully Focused. This will be about my testimony in my life and where I started and how God brought me to where I am today. I want to be a God-ordained positive influencer that makes change in the world with the authority of God. And I believe wholeheartedly I can do that. I have two rules. Don't judge me by my truth. And if I put the shades on, respect it. Because I know I'm going to cry. And this may help me. Maybe it won't. But this is helping me to be more vulnerable. So I was in my quiet time with God. And He revealed to me a flashback of when I was in church and the ministers prayed for me. And they were praying for me to be more open and to open up. And one of the ministers actually given me a book to read, Healing the Soul of a Woman. And that was by Joyce Myers. And she was telling her story and her testimony. Then God has been pushing me and telling me through what I'm watching on TV and just honestly, just the weirdest ways, like, Ariel, I want you to tell your story. And that's one thing about me is I understand how important it is to be obedient to God. And in this moment, in this time, he needs that more than ever. So I'm being obedient. Let's talk about it. I'm going to start off with a scripture. 1 Peter, 2nd chapter, 9th verse. But you are not like that, for you are a chosen people. You are royal priests, a holy nation, God's very own possession. As a result, you can show others the goodness of God, for He called you out of the darkness into His wonderful light. So I am born and raised in Wilmington, Delaware. I have 2 older twin sisters and a younger brother. I grew up without my biological father in my life, and when my younger brother's father and my mother got a divorce, my world was broken at that point. He was the only father figure that I truly knew, and he was with me since I was born. So we had a relationship. We had the house, we had the big house, the white picket fence, the American dream. And after him and my mother got a divorce, it was hard. It was hard. Definitely went through a lot of transitions. So after some time passed, my mother met a man. He seemed very kind, very loving. He showcased himself as a man of God. And I remember we went to Bob Evans, and he asked me and my brother, does he have our blessing to marry my mother? And at the time, I have to be completely open, honest, and transparent. Even as a child, I felt uneasy about it. But then I looked at my mom and seeing she was looking for my yes. So I said yes. And that is one of the biggest regrets of my life. I'm not even sure if my no would have changed anything, but definitely something I regret to this day. It was in those times, in early elementary school years until the age of 19, where my life every day was hell. And I lost out on a lot of time. I never truly got to experience being a child. I've had moments where I was able to be free like a child, but at the end of the day, the weight that I had to carry every day, it took it away. I wasn't able to experience things like other children. I grew up every day in fear of what will happen today if he had too much to drink. It was hard. It was very, very hard. But the hardest part of all going through that was suffering in silence. Every day I would get up go to school, pretend like nothing happened. No one knew that the night before I was up until 5 a.m. scared, terrified of him hurting my mom, him attacking us. It was rough. Even at that young age, I would look up into the stars and just know, like, God is real. There's a God. I believe there is a God. And for him to read the Bible in the morning and then at night turn into a demon, it was hard as a child to process that. I didn't understand why I had to go through that. I didn't understand why he was like that. And it was just a ripple effect of hurt. So I felt hurt, neglected, because my mom was always trying to console and comfort him and make sure that he was good, so he didn't want to have alcoholic beverages and flip out on us. So that hurt and anger built up inside me. I was angry with God. I was angry with my mother. I was angry with my stepdad. I was just angry at them. Like, why is this happening to me? Why did I have to go through this? This doesn't make sense. But I do want to say that I love my mom and I've forgiven her, and I don't fault her for it, because I do know when you're in a situation for so long like that, it's hard to leave it because you're scared. You don't know, what to do, what's the next step, how you're going to do it. So I definitely understand that. But I also understand that negativity that I dealt with so long messed me up in my mind, and I really thought like I couldn't be nothing because I grew up like that. I really thought success is not for me because I wasn't born to be successful. I didn't grow up with the tools to be successful. It's not for me. So when my mom finally decided to break from that situation, we moved to Michigan, and I was still headed down the wrong path, still held on to all that anger, all that hurt, confusion, wondering like where my dad was through all of this, and it was hard. But God. But if I could only apply what I know now back then to the transition and move to Michigan, I know that I would have saved myself from a lot of hindrance. I would have grown exponentially had I just let it go and forgiven truthfully with God, because I couldn't do it on my own strength. I can only do it with God. This is the end of part 1. And I just want to ask you 3 questions, and I really want you to think about it. Are you at peace? Do you feel something is missing? And have you tried Jesus? In my next video, I really want to talk about my transition from still being broken, hurt, and confused into my transition into knowing who God is and really allowing him in my life to change things for me. So stay tuned for part 2, and I thank you for watching and listening to my testimony.